Your attention, please. That includes all the turds. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Manny Sinder channel. Every Wednesday from 8 p.m. we present to you the Masters of Logic show. Every Friday from 8 p.m. we present to you the Friday Mayhem show. Warning. If you are easily offended or you do not like hard truths with colorful language, then please get lost. If however you have tuned in to expand your mind and your conscience, then please sit back, fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the show. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, Manny.
Hi, Betty.
How are you? Sorry, I'm just on my phone.
Okay. Are you able to join in the chat?
Yeah, am I not already in the chat?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Let me just put my earphones on because it's terribly quiet and stuff like that. How was your Saturday?
I haven't been up too long. I've just had brunch. Been out to the shop, and just kind of wanted to review yesterday's show really. And I thought I sent out the link to yourself and Witness, and see if he's available and to see what's what we need to review. But I suppose in one way, I also feel bad that you got some of the harsh language towards your general direction. How you felt about it and if you were over it.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. Obviously, I'm hurt and stuff like that, but I don't know. Els did come on. He did ask to come on my show this morning, so we did do a show where he did apologise and stuff like that. But I'm just taking it every one day at a time because I think the issue that he's having is it's not just about me, is it? You know what I mean? It's he was upset with Preston, upset with Rod, Raven, Jedi, etc., etc. It's not just me.
I don't think he was up with Preston. I don't think he was upset with Preston, Raj, myself, or Banksy. He seemed to be upset about his treatment by members of what we call gang at the park last time he was there when they surrounded him. So that's what he seems to be upset about. Obviously, the first and foremost thing, the way he's gone about of expressing that, and obviously he's upset with you because he feels that he's being ridiculed, and he's obviously not being self-critical and see what he's doing online. So, I mean, that there seem to be two grievances. One with you, because obviously you've stated how you feel about him and his attitude online, and he's done the same to you online as well. And I mean, I don't know exactly how it started, but obviously he didn't appreciate being surrounded by members of gang at the park last day he was there. Again, he's not being self-critical. They did that or they stated they did that because he had been saying certain things online against them. So I think three things have come up. I mean, as far as gang's concerned, it's the same thing with gang repeatedly, and that is nobody appreciates gang acting as a literal gang and surrounding people at Speaker's Corner and attempted to intimidate them. Right, so that's an ongoing thing, and they don't seem to be tackling that. However, on gangs' side, they're saying, why go online and say X, Y, and Z? Why can you not, approach us and talk about it amicably? And again, that is a good point as well. So, as far as the likes of you and I are concerned, I think we need to be aware, and everybody needs to be aware, whether they're a prominent speaker at Speaker's Corner or not, or an online presence, is that there has to be categories of speakers and online presence. For example, there needs to be a category of people who do online streams who are not perhaps ideal material to do Speaker's Corner type material. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, if we take Who can we use? So do you know James Speaker's Corner or Jamie Speaker's Corner? So he's a very
Yeah,
good on Speaker's
the
Corner
show.
person, but he doesn't
Yeah,
mess around with online streams.
yeah,
And I think we need to differentiate and be aware that we shouldn't. I mean, gut instinct, I didn't really want to bring arts on, and I thought it was really going to be a chance for you and him to patch up any issues. So that's why I eventually gave in of
yeah.
bringing him on. But and perhaps in hindsight, I should have thrown him off sooner. But I was hoping there was a chance of him saying something that would kind of resolve everything. But that never happened.
Yeah, well, we live and learn, don't we, man? It's one of them. I think it was a good. I think it was good because he's finally said what he needed to say. He said what was on his chest. That's one of my criticisms, that he doesn't say what he really wants to say. He keeps a lot of it inside, and if you keep a lot of things inside, eventually you just explode.
That's right, and
You know
that's
what I
why
mean?
he's acting like that when he's drunk, right? He
Yeah,
he lets it all out, and if a lot of people that become aggressive when they're intoxicated, it's because their innermost feelings come out at that point, but
yes.
they don't realize that it's taken over them.
Yeah, yeah. This is it. It's a coping mechanism. That's why I always try and be honest with my feelings, regardless of whether people like them or not. Because I'm not going to have it all build up inside, and then I have to find something in order to medicate myself, in order to get rid of the feelings, because the feelings don't go away. You know, One of the things is, if you denying something, you can't change something that you're not prepared to face.
True.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I just even like bad parts of my personality, when I get angry, and probably I'm too sensitive. Um, I've got a bad temper. If I just played like I was some type of angel, and I'm trying to change not to be so triggered, how can I change what I'm not prepared to confront?
Sure. And before I respond to that, I just want to say that the reason why I never come into your defense sooner is because I don't think you really need it. I don't think you need anybody to speak for you, and it's probably better if anyone's going to respond is let you do it. Otherwise, if you have someone like me or Raj come in and speak for you, then we're going back to square one, right? Because if you don't express your emotions and your thoughts, then they're just going to be inside you, and that's going to cause all types of other issues.
Yeah, you know me well then. That's what I like about you, because you know a lot about psychology, and that's exactly right. I can speak for myself, and that's why I don't like people trying to speak for me or trying to control my feelings and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't need anyone to do that, to be honest truth.
Yeah, I agree. But this is what let's take cancer for example. People who suffer from cancer, majority of them will have inner anger issues, and
Yeah.
and they develop, especially women with breast cancer, they have inner anger issues. And if you look at depression, depression means deep pressed emotions and feelings. So if you don't express what you need to express, you're going to suffer from depression. And this is why Americans are a lot better with coping with depression, because they go to a therapist or a psychiatrist and they sit down and they express their views, and therefore they have a much easier time of being happy and what have you. And the word disease is actually comes from dis-ease. So you have an uneasement within yourself, inside yourself, which is then manifesting in some kind of illness, and in this case disease.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. It's true. It's very true. Anger, what's it? Depression is anger turned within.
That's right. Yeah, but there's two types of anger, isn't it? You see, when something goes wrong, you have an implosion. You either have an implosion or an explosion. So women tend to implode. So women are more likely to self-harm because they don't outwardly express themselves, where men explode. So they're more likely to externalize their anger and put it towards someone, i.e., physical violence and that type of thing. But really, when you come down to it, it's they're in trouble. They need help. and they're just
Yes.
shouting and saying, help me out. And this is because I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of chats like, why are you putting up with these people? They're not on this level. And I just say, well, they're just indicating who they are and where they're coming from. And if I'm a decent human being, I'm happy to take some of that burden, some of that heat from them, so that at least they feel lighter,
Yes.
and they can go away. But the problem is, Betty, you will know this. People don't tend to learn very quickly with these type of things.
No, they don't. And I think and if you're trying to change some part of yourself that you don't like, that is negative and stuff like that, it's not. First, you have to recognise that it needs changing, for one, and it's not an overnight process.
No,
things take time. Old habits die hard.
You know what blokes are like? It's a very masculine, macho thing. They don't really want to confront these type of issues themselves. It's very much like, ask a bloke, would you like to go for marriage counselling? And the bloke's going to run a mile, right? Because it's they're having to confront all these inner demons, so to speak. Where women are so bountifully happy to express their emotions because they're more of an emotional being, and they'll go to a therapist, hop and skip it, and go la la la. Let's pick some flowers on the way. Oh, there's a beautiful rainbow, and it's very much in their how can we say reality. Where with blokes, they're just going to sit there with their arms crossed, saying, "Don't talk to me, don't look at me, I'm not here."
It's true. That is really true. And I think women are encouraged to talk to their friends and their female friends and stuff like. Men are told like, don't be emotional, man up. You're in your feelings. They're not encouraged to express their feelings, are they? They said if they do, they're less of a man.
That's right. And that's very very much prominent in my culture, in my community, and in my family, where the women in my family are stronger than most blokes. I know you probably wouldn't think that, having known me, but my sister, my grandma, there was a joke going around. I'll still joke it. I was telling Steve and Preston when we went out during over Christmas. I was joking around, but I was half serious. They used to call my grandmother the gangster, because when she was younger, her and her sister used to stand outside blokes' houses and give them a good hiding if they had done something wrong. And I'm like, what? Are you joking me? It's like, no, we're not joking at all. So I sometimes used to joke around, introduce my grandmother to people, saying she's the family gangster. But the thing is, my mum's just as strong, and my sister. I used to see my sisters beat up blokes when they were. When I was young. So I've never met a family full of strong women as much as in my family. But then, obviously, as an African woman, you kind of get that, right? Because it's like there's only other group of women that are usually that strong are usually African women.
Yeah, honestly, that's how a lot of the women around me were. They wouldn't call the men to do something if there was a problem. They'd go and call the women, and they'd go fight. But they've got to pick up something, a brick, whatever. They did a lot themselves. So it's kind of difficult when I encounter people who have a lot of men around and they're like, "Oh, the man's gonna sort it out," and I'm like, "What do you mean the man's gonna sort it out? Where are all the women?" So I understand. There are some very strong women. I think people forget that female warriors as well. People forget that women fight wars as well.
Yeah, well, in my genetic lineage, that was exactly it. The women back in the Scythian days used to slice their right breast off so they could fire arrows and go into battle with men.
Oh gosh!
Right.
Oh,
and I haven't done a lot of reading about African history. I'm going to be honest. Obviously, you can't read and research everything, but I did read that when the Europeans went there, they actually told a lot of the soldiers that the African tribes were too busy eating each other, taking something from the South Pacific islands like Fiji and what have you, which was completely untrue, because majority of the tribes and the households were headed by women, and there was rarely any violence between the tribes.
This is a lot of, the Europeans write a lot of nonsense, don't they, to just sort of justify, colonization and stuff. But yeah, they were like female warriors. I know the Fon in Nigeria and Benin, the country next door. They were like They were known as Amazonian warriors
Right.
because they
Okay.
were
So,
fighting the French.
oh, I
Um,
see. So that's where the recent Wonder Woman movie got the title of those warriors. They call them the Amazonians.
I don't think it must be from is it Brazil or around there? But the Fon were known as being Amazonian. Anyone who's like Amazonian meaning just a first woman fighter
Sure.
because they used to scalp the French. They'd just scalp his head, just take his head off.
Right.
When and stuff like that. But there's a couple of female fighting forces in Africa and stuff like that, and obviously the
May,
Eritrean women.
maybe your next YouTube channel, since you collected them, should be called the Amazonian Warrior.
Yeah, it's done like that. It's nice. I think, yeah, it's nice. I feel proud to know. I'd like to hear about. I didn't know about. Did you say Civi? The
Scythian.
Civia,
Yeah.
Civi,
SCY. Yeah, Scythian.
Civian.
The
Where
problem
are they
is,
from?
originally, they are from the Ukrainian Russian um, area. So they came
Oh,
down
okay.
Central Eastern Europe into Central Asia. Then they went as far as Greek, Turkey has the genetics
Oh,
there, and North India, which is obviously where my family's from, around the Punjab area.
oh, so they were fierce.
So
Oh,
majority of the Maharajas of India were of that genetic lineage, and I say majority because the South Indian Tamil kings were also had a Punjabi surname, but they didn't necessarily say they were Scythian. So that's a bit of research I need to do.
oh. I think. Well, maybe Raj and Oz can talk about it. They can talk about the female warriors.
Yeah,
That'd be.
but you know what blokes like? They don't normally go down that road, do they? They want to keep it as a masculine thing. Or only men are warriors. But I did a
Don't worry,
bit of research
I'll
on
pod
the
Raj.
movie 300, and some of the aspects of the movie 300 was taken from the Scythians.
Oh, all right. What the hell?
A very similar culture. The only difference being that the Scythians were essentially travelers. So they actually created a first globalist business network where they would dig up gold and take grains and take it to another country and sell it there. That type of thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, well. I
But
think,
Indians don't know this. Indians don't know this research because they think everything started from their religion, right? So Asians think their life, their everything started when their religion started, which couldn't be the further from the truth. And obviously, religion and those who run religions don't want to tell the local community just in case they do a bit of research and realize, they're
yeah.
actually genetically from the same group.
Yeah. I hear what you mean. I hear we have the same problem in Africa. A lot of times people forget that there's a history prior to the religions, the major
Yeah,
religions and
absolutely.
stuff. I,
So I did. Sorry,
but
just go back on the conversation, Betty. So I did feel a little bit sorry for um, Rap Raven because he got a brunt of a lot of the stick yesterday, and he's a very sensible guy, and I
yeah,
kind of feel as if I need to apologise to him because he actually came on the show to talk about a review of Speaker's Corner, but it didn't go that way. Yeah, do you think that's a fair point to make?
yeah. I'm gonna have to contact Raven too. I felt upset for him too. He got a lot of brunt and stuff like that. I thought it was unfair. Um, I think I have to. I feel like I've got to apologise to him.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it
don't
was
you?
good of him to stay because he only came on to say a few words and then it all kicked off, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It was just because Raven is very. Well, one of the things with Raven that people have to understand is, uh, uh, you know, the criticism that Raven doesn't call out members of guiding the new generation. What Raven does is he talks privately to people, so he's not going to do it on camera because he doesn't like car crash TV, and
Right.
that's what Raven would see it as, him talking on camera. If you're talking about someone's personality traits, like he might say certain things, but if you're talking about a personality trait that that is negative, he would pull them aside off camera because if you do it on camera, it's there forever, and that person might not be ready to hear about their negative personality trait and how they're affecting people. So what he would do is do it off camera. So that's what people have to bear in mind. That's how
Sure.
Raven works.
And so where do you stand with this point, that with this statement that Ards may have had a point, but the way he went about it was completely unjustified and completely unmoral, and that he should have tackled it different. But there was a single point that he raised, that there is an issue with the group gang approaching individuals or other people in a very intimidating manner. Do you think that's a fair statement, or do you think I've got the wrong end of the stick there?
In this situation, from what I can because I wasn't there at the time when he was approached, so I can only judge it from the video and stuff like
Same
that.
here. I wasn't there. I've only seen the video.
Yeah, and then you'd have to talk about other times. From what I know, I don't know if he was he approached by all of gang or some representative gangs, because gang are meant to be 200 man strong. Yeah. Now the gang members that approached him and stuff like that, what I can see is what he said on his live stream the day before. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, he had a live stream on the night and said certain things about, etc., etc. And it was perceived to be like, like you're challenging them. Yeah. Now, in terms of one of the things that Gang has said, and I've agreed with them, that he has a tendency to, instead of him to talk to the people, he will do it online.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's bringing these gang members surrounding him and stuff like that. And it wasn't just about gang, was it? Because it was a personal issue. Because I got brought into it, and I'm not part of gang, so it's not fair to say that gang surrounded him just about gang. It was also about personal issues and me.
Yeah.
Now,
So
Now,
there's an online situation been going on between you and Ards of late, and I think you're both to blame, possibly equal amounts. So I don't know the full history. I haven't seen all the videos, but that's been going on at the same time as well, for sure.
Yeah. So that is being brought into the whole. That's affecting guiding the new generation. Now, what they're saying about Jedi, and then people challenging him and saying to get out of the park, come out of the park, and etc. etc. The fact of the matter is, if Jedi wanted to touch Oz, he would have done it. Yeah, he would have. Forget camera. Jedi's been to prison. If Jedi really wants to attack Oz, man wouldn't even be standing up. Yeah. So he has self-control. The same way Oz, because if Oz really wanted to touch Jedi, Jedi wouldn't be standing up. So they both have self-control. Yeah. But the problem is I feel like it's a male ego thing as well. Yeah, that both of their egos are hurt. Both of them are accusing each other of hurting me, saying things. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just like I understand. I understand if what you call Oz felt like they were surrounding him and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is what he's saying, because he keeps on mentioning this warrior blood. Now, if you start talking about your warrior blood, there's going to come a point where someone's going to challenge you on this warrior blood that you keep on speaking about.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So he's got to stop talking to people offline. If you've got a problem with somebody, contact the person offline. We're not the cameras rolling. That's what was said, that he was the only member that has done that on camera. When he had a problem with gang, he went on Mr. Max and said so and so or Leo, I think content's over everything, and that's what gang was saying. But I can't. It's very hard to judge to see whether or not there was conflict, because it is his video. I can only say from his own video and what I got from his live stream, and to me it looked like he was challenging Colin Gang to come and do something. come and fight. That's what it looked like to me. I have to be honest. And all they've done to me is reply. Don't talk about. Where have you ever seen Jedi talk about his warrior bloodline? Because Jedi has a warrior bloodline. Because that ethnic group he comes from were fighting for 90 years with my ethnic group. There are things that his ethnic group have done. But he doesn't go around talking about it all the time. So I think ours has to take responsibility for the fact that if you want to talk about what your forefathers were doing, how many hundreds of years ago, don't be surprised if people are ready to challenge you on that. If you say your forefathers are warrior and you come from warrior bloodline, then you better get ready. But
So
he was
what?
also, and when he's talking and he's drunk, talking all this stuff. And then another thing is, the thing that's annoying, because the other thing is, Jedi doesn't do that. Jedi does it. It's not on camera, drinking, challenging every man, talking about his warrior bloodline.
So what's the solution? I mean, here's one suggestion. You can tell me what you think. If everybody comes into a neutral agreement, whether in the park or whether on live streams, you never make a personal comment against anybody, whether in a negative way, right? I mean, I know that's going to seem like, well, isn't that what we all supposed to be doing anyway? But the thing is, nobody seems to be doing it. Nobody seems to be being able to have that self control continuously. So, you know, do you think that's a solution where we have this understanding that going forward from this point, there's no derogatory personal comment, and you certainly don't approach anybody in Speaker's Corner unless you want to discuss and debate a concept, idea, or theory that they are trying to promote?
You can try, but I don't know. I don't think all the people that we're talking about have the discipline to do that.
No, I don't either.
Do you know what I mean? You can promote it. The only thing I would say to people is, I would say to Oz, if you've got a problem with someone, contact the person offline, phone them, email them, whatever. Don't do it in the park where the cameras are rolling. Yeah.
And do it sooner. Do it today. You know, get it sorted. Because Speaker's Corner is just becoming it's just becoming a center of animalistic behavior, and we don't want that. Nobody wants that, even those that are involved. We want it to be a center of debate, international debate, and where we can all go and discuss things to better different communities, not bring down individuals.
Yeah, and also, in terms of all this, the criticisms of gang, surrounding people and stuff like that, because I can't really remember any other time that they've surrounded people and stuff like that. But I would say both of those men were not ready to fight because they took a breath. Now, when you're ready to fight, you throw the punch. You don't care with cameras, blah blah blah. I don't think they were ready to fight. I think it was just a bit of two what do you call it, bulls, standing their ground, and that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. So like you're saying, they do have a certain level of self decorum, and everything needs to come offline first and foremost, right? People need to stop attacking each other, talking about each other online, and then the other person responds. All that needs to stop first and foremost. And then when you get to Speaker's Corner, even if you are approached by somebody to talk about a certain personal matter, you just walk away and keep your ego in check. That's the only way forward, I think.
This is it. And I don't know, because I think people need to understand guiding new generations command structure. They don't have a command structure because they're a collective. They do not have a head, so it's an individual. They're all individuals and they come together as a collective. So no one can tell the other one to what to do. They can advise, but that person in that collective doesn't have to take their advice. That's how it runs. It's not like a company where it's got a president and stuff like that. So when people are saying Raven is not, dealing with his side being aggressive or stuff, he cannot. He can only advise because he's not the head. They don't have a head. Everybody's equal. So it's all if them. So when you've got a problem, if gang members have surrounded someone, whether it's ours or anyone, you have to go to that individual person, part of gang, and sort it out. And that's what they've said themselves.
Yeah,
You
and they
cannot blame the
and,
whole organization.
and they kind of respect that anyway.
Yeah,
You got to, and you've then in return got to respect. That's the policy that they have, and that's how you need to see it. So, I mean, both sides need to work towards a common ground and see which is the best way to enter into dialogue, rather than trying to trigger each other and that type of thing. But definitely doing live streams under intoxication and be doing personal attacks and all that is definitely not something that I can condone anymore. So I'm going to be making a even more of a stringent effort to make sure there's no repeat of what happened yesterday, because it did leave me kind of deflated, thinking like, I managed to get the likes of Sarah Gavio and the likes of Raven on, and here we are having an EastEnders.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
It
we were
was.
having
It
such a
was.
good conversation before it all kicked off, right? Right, Betty? We were going at the speaker's corner issues.
Yeah, it was. And but to tell you the honest truth, you know what they say. Sometimes when you have like, like they say, a breakdown can be a breakthrough. I mean, a confrontation like that
Of
can lead
course.
to a better relationship and a better understanding and stuff like that. And ours had things to say. Do you know what I mean? So it's better that he says it than he keeps it in
Of
and stuff
course.
like that. Do you know what I mean? So we don't have to see the negative side of it and stuff like that. What some people saying is, let me just say, Miss Banks, you saying I'm not acknowledging my role in it. First and foremost, Miss Banks, I am, because I didn't have to have ours on my channel. End of story. I own the channel. I didn't have to have him on my channel. So if I was not acknowledging my role in it, I would have just ignored him. So Betty is acknowledging her part in it. Yeah. Um, but I'm not perfect. Betty's never said she's perfect and stuff like that. But what I won't have is people tell me how to run my channel, what to do on my channel, and what to say on my channel. I pay the bills on the channel and I run things and stuff like that. But the only thing I ask of anybody is if I've done something to hurt you, that you come and talk to me and don't bring anybody, because I'm woman enough to say it. So you should be man or woman enough to come and say what you don't like about me. I don't like people who need backup dancers. I won't respect you as a man or a woman if you've got to bring backup.
Not that you're ever going to win with Betty anyway. Don't forget to put that in.
No, 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 no. It's not even a winning though, is it? That's it. Because there are some things that you can't win at. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, we all played a part in it. We all played a part in this online speakers corner thing. We all have to take our responsibility for the part that we played in the online soap opera and
Do you
stuff
know?
like that. But
Do,
it's a
do,
new year.
do you know in the late 90s, early millennium, there used to be that whole craze of freestyle ragga MCs rapping over drum and bass. Jungle, and they used to have those live jungle raids. Do you remember that era, Betty?
Yeah, I remember having a really noisy neighbour that used to just play jungle,
Yeah,
and
they
it used
used
to
to.
do my head in.
I used to love that stuff. And anyway, there used to be this one rapper, and I can't remember his name for the hell of me now. And his strapline used to be gunshot business. Right? So your next channel needs to be Amazonian Warrior, and your strapline needs to be gunshot business.
I know. I need to. That's true. I need to think of my next channel.
Yeah, if you want the logo design, I'm happy to create that for you. I think that'd be very funny.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, definitely, and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to say, I think this whole year we've all grown, we've all made mistakes, um, and I have to, yeah, I have to thank Oz for, um, the support that he's offered me over the last couple of weeks, and I have to thank Jedi for the support that he's also offered me, and Raven and Naifa and everybody does that, and you and Raj and stuff like that. I appreciate it,
Yeah,
and bet he's
likewise.
going to be a better person.
Yeah, likewise.
But
Yeah, let's
yeah,
let's concentrate on the positives and grow even more, especially at this time of the year when we're going into the new year. It's best to start off on a positive keel, clear all the air and the cobwebs, and go forth and make 2019 into a positive year.
yeah, this is it. His life is too short. There's things. My new lens came today for my camera, so I bet he's really happy. And I just, all this online fighting, it's draining me. It's draining me. It's hard. It's hard to
Yeah,
keep on. Hating somebody takes a lot. You
yeah,
know,
of course.
but I think no. Hopefully, that what I suggested was that ours, Jedi, me, Naifo, Maku, and a moderator just have an online private hangout to iron out the thing so we can come to some resolution. And we're not talking about being best of buddies, chilling together. We're just talking about resolving the thing so we can move on. Because I think
Sure.
if we don't do that, it's going to be very hard for everybody to agree not to speak about each other online.
Yeah,
Because even if you're not saying that person's name, you can tell by what the person's saying that they're speaking about that person.
yeah. Yeah, that's a fair point. So who do you think would moderate? I would normally opt for Rap Raven, but after last night, I'm not sure that Rap Raven will want to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. I don't think Matt Raven. I think you probably might need two moderators to tell you honest truth. I think there might be. I think probably. I don't know. Someone that else trusts, maybe a Muslim brother or someone to moderate, and someone that Jedi and thingy and I trust and stuff.
Yeah,
You know, someone that's level-headed and
yeah, and that everybody would listen to as well. That's the other thing. I mean, that's the most difficult thing: finding the one person that they all respect and trust and will listen to.
you
Um,
know, and I think not to have any and also not to have any expectations to go in there, um, with the open heart. Because
yeah,
even if you apologize, that doesn't mean that person has to accept your apology. Yeah,
that's
because
true.
actually you can say a lot of words, but actions speak louder than words. So you can be saying sorry, but that doesn't mean that you mean it because your actions will follow. You have to back up your words with action, and they have to be in line. If they're not in line, that means you didn't mean the apology in the first place. So I think that's what we have to understand. And to tell you the truth, what I would say to ours and Jedi, and that they have things in common. Like Jedi's a personal trainer, and ours wants to be a personal trainer. So they actually have things in common, and they would be better off concentrating on what they have in common instead of what they don't have in common.
Sure, it's a good point. But I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if you need to play a pivotal role in the next few days and make sure everybody is playing nicely because you yourself are a pivotal point for both sides. No.
Yeah, yeah. I think Betty also needs to take time out from. I need to take time out.
Yeah, of
I
course.
need to. No, because the Jedi has told me, Betty, you need to stop beefing with the brothers. Yeah,
Yeah,
like my blood pressure, 2009. But you need to stop doing this. And he's right. I need to start beefing with my little Nigerian Jamaican brothers too. Do you know what I mean? I need to be on code. We need to have a code of honor, and that's what I need to do.
Yeah, I always respect communities and groups that have that philosophy. But as long as it doesn't turn into a situation where then the groups start using that unity as a weapon against other groups, which doesn't happen with any of the groups in the African community. So I'm not implying that to you or anybody else. I'm just saying generally it's great when groups come together, but we also need to be aware that, as we've seen in history, that standing in behind a certain line can also mean that people and groups can do bad things.
In what way? Can you explain that more? I don't really understand what you mean.
Yeah, like so I was just speaking like historically, like caste systems in India. So castes can come together and be in unison with each other, but then belittle other people. Right. I mean, if you really want the most obvious example, then how Hitler brought together all the Germans and caused hatred against all the other groups, and so on and so forth. And even some religious groups, they love each other and they think they're above all the other types of people, and indirectly they're creating a line in the sand saying you're either with us or against us, right? So that's what I mean. But with what you're saying, it's more community driven, which tends to go towards the positive direction. Doesn't bring out any negativity. So that wasn't a dig against you or what you were saying. I'm all for that. I think all communities should come together for themselves and for each other, because that's the best way to kind of build communities rather than waiting for a collectivized system such as governments to do it.
Yeah, that's true. But I also want to say, in Oz defense and stuff like that, that one of the problems that I was struggling with was I wasn't willing to accept, like, Jedi and the others as my brothers. Because, obviously they have quite a few of them have criminal records, and I wasn't willing to see the humanity in them. They were just like convicts to me. Do you know what I mean? And it was Oz that forced me to see the humanity in them and to forgive the sins of the past. And I think people don't realize that it was Oz. That's the only thing I can say. He may be having a disagreement with them now, but without him, I wouldn't be accepting them, because everybody saw how me, Jedi, Maku went at it. Everyone saw me argue with Gang. Without Oz, I wouldn't have seen the humanity in them. They would have just been hood rats, convicts, criminals, every name under the sun. So that's one thing. He'd help me to see their humanity and
That's
to
good.
see that, yeah. So he does have good qualities, even though he puts himself in a bad light when he's emotional and he's had something to drink. But when he's not drinking, he does, because he used to say a lot of really good things about them. Do you know what I mean? And it is sad to see them at it, fall out when he had so much good things to say about Gang and Jedi and stuff. But I thank him. I do thank him. I want to thank Oz for that. Thank you for helping me. Because you know what it was? I grew up in a place where people who had been to prison, who, dealt in, gang banging, drugs, gun running, you had to avoid them. Do you know what I mean? They were dangerous people. So when I met them and stuff like that, I thought, oh shit, they have to be avoided. When I used to ride my bike, I had to avoid those type of people. So when I encountered them and I saw how they carried on, and that's how I had to judge them harshly, because I was always told to stay away from them type of people as a child and stuff like that. But ours helped me see that their humanity, and that I have to forgive, and I cannot. They are still my brothers, whether they've made mistakes or not. They're still my brothers.
Yeah, and if we don't forgive each other, Betty, then we can never move on, right? So somebody that carried out something younger in life, but they are not even the same person today, would completely miss out in growing as a human being. So we kind of owe it to ourselves and owe it to them. But one important point about that is that when we do forgive people, we grow ourselves. So even if
Yeah,
somebody have committed the most grievous of gravest of crime, but when we actually go through the process of forgiving them and accepting their mistake and moving on, then we ourselves internally grow and become bigger and better people.
yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, because like some people are saying, "Oh, don't forgive him" and stuff like that. And I would just like to reiterate that forgiveness, me forgiving, is not about him. It's about me. Because if I don't forgive, it turns into hate, and it's only going to hurt me. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I say to everybody who's concerned. If you don't forgive, it's you that's going to be hurting at the end. That person's going to go on with their life and not even see the pain or feel the pain that
Yeah.
you're feeling.
Yeah, and this is what I always try to say about children that are abused is getting over the actual abuse is one thing, but what lingers is what really is the torment, right? So it's
Yeah,
very important that everybody gets some help to release those inner dark demons, so that you can move on, because and the happy internal mind, concept, and heart is really going to be helping you fulfill all your life's dreams moving forward. So it's important to be able to do that.
yeah, it is. And but it's hard to accept help, and it's hard. It's hard to like the ego gets in the way and stuff like that.
Well,
Um,
the ego
but
is
yeah,
the devil, essentially, though, isn't it?
the devil, yeah, the ego. I don't know. I don't know. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot over the last couple of months. All this online beef. No, I say the positive aspects of it. It's made me stronger. I think prior to that, I wasn't able to deal with a lot of criticism. But now I'm a lot stronger. Now, like a lot of what people say, it just rolls off my back.
Sure.
And Raj is helping me with that. Raj,
Yeah.
when Raj says he just loves all the hate.
That's it out.
Yeah, he does. Because the way he goes, like, don't you just love it? Don't you love the fact that, like, just accept it, Betty? You're crazy and you're weird and you're just like me. Don't you just accept it? And I'm like, yeah, I understand what you mean. When he said that you can never leave the weirdo corner, because you're just weird. And I was like, yeah, he's right. And then when he started saying that they were using his catchphrase against him, and he just loved it. And I was just like, yeah, it's just. And shout out to Nino Brown from Guiding New Generation. He said something really important to me when I went, and he basically said that you can't get triggered over what people say in the comment section. You can't live your life for what people say about you in the comment section, because at the end of the day, you know, they're not in your life. They're not part of your life. They're only there for a few moments in time. And you have to look after yourself. Your self-esteem has to come from within. You've got to be all right with the person in the mirror. You can't run away from yourself.
Well, I've created my own concept of what these online trolls suffer from. I call it a disease called a mental disease called bumpussyitis, because they don't use their real name. They use a false avatar. They don't come on camera. They don't have anything constructive to say. They just attack. They try to threaten. So that's a mental disorder. They're bums because they haven't got anything better to do. They're pussies because they're hiding behind false identities, and it's an itis because it's a mental disease. So going from this point forward, anybody that comes across a false being suffering from bum pussyitis, you should actually tell them to go see a psychiatrist and say to the psychiatrist, excuse me, madam, sir, I'm suffering from bum pussyitis, can you please help me? And then if they need any further diagnosis, just contact me.
Yeah, this is it. I find the cartoon avatars the most abusive. The online trolls, the cartoon avatars are the ones that are the most abusive. They never have anything but a cartoon avatar.
Absolutely. No, that
Like,
wasn't
yeah,
shots
like,
fired against you, Leon. And we all know who Leon is, and Leon's actually a nice guy. I'm just saying that I don't really get it myself, but I know a lot of you guys. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. This is going to happen to you. You're like, how would you even stoop to such a low level? But then, of course, it's a mental retardation issue, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. I think some people, if you're so invested in other people's lives that you don't know, you've never met, and you're never gonna meet, it's probably because you don't have your own life.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because some of these people, some of the comments that people write, like they're so demanding, like you actually count, and you don't. You know, you're part of the internet world. Do you know what I mean? The internet world and the real world are not the same thing.
Absolutely. And I would advise anybody listening to this, if you ever want to learn anything in life, or you're not very good at learning, full stop, try to learn what narcissism is. Try to
Yes.
find out where narcissism comes from, i.e., your family, your parents, how different personalities have or hide narcissism, and then critique yourself, your own behavior, how you are probably a narcissist or have narcissistic issues. And then you would realize that a lot of the hatred and anger you have within yourself is not even your fault, and you are actually part of the problem that the world is facing.
Yeah. It's almost time for self-reflection. I think whenever you have any confrontation or relationship, whether it's friendship, whether it's romantic, whatever, any type of bust up, it's always time for self-reflection, and
Yeah,
because you,
absolutely.
you're being told things about yourself that you don't like or you don't want to hear.
Yeah, and also when you critique somebody, you're actually finding faults in that person that you yourself have.
Yeah. A lot of the times that I think one of the sayings that I heard was the lesson you teach is the lesson you most need to learn, and I found that to be very true.
Yeah, because when you
You know,
teach
a
others,
lot.
you also teach yourself.
Yeah, but also a lot of the things that people are criticizing others for, they do themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, finger. Some people. There's a few people that are saying that they're blocked. Mohim Khan is saying he's blocked.
The
Wendy's
reason
saying
why
she's blocked.
the reason why I'm ignoring Mohin Khan. Mohin Khan hasn't always been a very as nice a troll as he is at the moment. So I'm having to think about it. I'm trying to be fair, Mohin Khan. I may just unblock absolutely everybody, and there's hundreds of people blocked as a New Year special. I'm just not sure yet, because if you've generally been blocked on this channel, you've generally deserved it. That's the truth of it. So that's fair enough. I'll behave now. So, but that's okay. Well, that's kind of put you in the likelihood that all your accounts will be unblocked. So, but like I say, I may just unblock absolutely every single account and give everybody a second chance.
Yeah, everyone deserves a second chance. I was taught that everyone deserves a second chance, and I think it just that I want to be like a better person. I want to be a Christian. I believe in forgiveness and stuff like that, and it is important. Even though I don't talk a lot about Christianity, you know, Christian values are quite important to me. It's important
But
to forgive. You know.
but when you're not in your Amazonian warrior avatar, you actually you talk a lot of sense, and you come up with a lot of intelligent sayings and conclusions. So you too, like most of us, have a second, third, or fourth persona, which you can
Yeah.
which comes on at certain moods. So we kind of need to, when we're in these type of moods, say like, where is my mind at? What are the emotions? How am I feeling? So when you're triggered or something goes wrong, you know how you should be to come back to reality.
Yeah, definitely. Jedi was telling me that. They're telling me that like 2 days ago because I was on his channel. He
Okay.
said I was scaring. He said I was scaring all the guys. And that I'm getting too much of a say. And you kept unmuting me, and I kept unmuting myself, and I was like, "That's not fair." But he's just saying that I've got to stop getting triggered so easily. People are trying to draw me out.
Yeah.
not really easily, but that people are saying things to draw me out, and then I just get drawn out, and that's what they want. And he's
Yes,
right. I've got to be more disciplined.
it's true.
But I
It's true.
think
You
you've
see,
said that too. You said
I
that
have.
you're too sensitive, Betty.
Yeah, and what I also try to do when you're on my panel, I like to try to get you to come in every so often, because I noticed very early on that when I didn't do that, or you didn't have a say every so often, that when you came in, boy, you were like a tsunami. And and you would say and do things that wasn't relevant to anything, and I was like, why is she doing it? I nearly had a fallout with you at one point. I was like, why is she doing that? But then I sat down and I thought about it. I thought, but it's just the pressure building up, and she's not being able to express what she needs to say, because it's tough on any panel, because everyone, especially when you've got a group of strong personalities. Even me as the host, I can't even get a word in edgeways. Yesterday being an example. So that's why every so often I always say, going to bring so and so in, because at least let some of the pressure from the hot kettle come out. Otherwise, we're all going to regret it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you think of me in that way, and you hear me and stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes I'm quiet because I'm like, well, let other people speak. But yesterday it was going all so well, but I don't know. It was a bit much, wasn't it? I felt
Yeah,
really bad for Raven as well, and then Preston as well, because
yeah,
Preston's so sweet.
yeah,
He's so
yeah, yeah,
civilized. Because
yeah.
this is how I know something's really bad. If Raven and Preston are getting upset and raising their voice, I know there's something's bad, because they rarely ever raise their voice.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I felt bad because I had, as you know, I had messaged and emailed a number of people saying this is the type of show I'm having. This is what you guys can get involved, and blah blah blah. So I had sent all that out to many different people,
Yeah,
and the idea wasn't to have um, ads on, and I ignored the request for a long time, and then I kind of just gave up, and I thought, okay, maybe he's going to patch things up with Betty, and because the whole thing was, how are we going to make Speakers Corner better? How are we going to move forward? So that was my thought process, but obviously it took another direction. And even when Sarah came on, and Sarah was like, I thought this show was going to be about Speakers Corner and moving forward, not as what
but
Banksy called it, a complete shit show.
but you know what I think? But it was about Speakers Corner, isn't it? Because it was about the people that attend Speakers Corner. Because like Thingy said, what's that name? Deep. He said was it Deep? There's an online Speakers Corner and there's a Speakers Corner in real life, and
Yeah,
they run parallel to
yeah,
each other.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you're never gonna get rid of the online Speakers Corner because
No,
it
but
consists of
no,
people
but
from around the world.
it's true. But however, I do think that majority, not all, majority of the online Speakers Corner attendants should not even bother buying a ticket to the real Speakers Corner, because I don't think it really works. It has to be ideas and concepts in the real Speakers Corner, and the online Speakers Corner can be, you can't stop people doing anything. But what we should be doing, like, we shouldn't be going onto certain channels that that don't even try to advance the thought process. There's some channels and live chats that are just very derogatory to individuals and that type of thing. So we should all kind of make a conscious effort to keep away from that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was on the positive tip as well. Um, I feel like sometimes, but I feel like the fact that ours came on and he said what he said and how he said it, he needed to say it. Because if he wouldn't have said it then, he would have said it in the park, and the whole thing could have just exploded. You see what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
already
So,
building up.
so you're saying he vented his pent up emotions and thoughts and feelings and stuff. So in a way, he liberated himself from that. But we've got to make sure, or those that he discussed need to make sure that they understand and accept that. and moving forward, not further antagonization is created, so everybody can go about their business without carrying a burden of emotions.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Because I think it's really important. And that's not just a life lesson for ours. It's a life lesson for everybody. You know, say what's on your heart. Do not allow things to build up, because these things just people start getting ill and all types of things. Well, people turn to drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that. Never be ashamed of your emotions. It's just how you deal with them. So never feel ashamed of how you feel. It's just how you channel how you feel. Like you have anger, and you can direct your anger in a positive way. You can go to the gym and work it out, or you can just go and like smack someone and kill them. Do you see what I mean? There's a way
Yeah.
to challenge
Yes.
anger.
Yeah, I agree. And just to expand on that, so if you've got a high energy emotions, then go for a workout. But if you've got more subtle emotional issues, then there's nothing else to do other than to sit down with a friend or family, talk them, discuss them, and go through them that way. Because when you do, because what people do, they, in order to discuss an emotion or a problem or an issue, they have to sit in the problem. So rather than sitting in the problem and expressing what they're seeing and what they're feeling, they just go to the local pub, or they buy a bottle of whiskey, or whatever other intoxications that they take, and then they cover it up. But the real core issue is never resolved, and then two things happen. You continue doing that, and then that deep emotions eventually turns into something nasty, i.e., disease. And secondly, you never learn from it. You never realize what that problem was trying to cause you, was trying to teach you. And once you realize what the teaching was, you can go out and help more people. But more importantly, you feel better, and you won't even want to go out and get intoxicated.
Yeah, that's it. That you won't feel like a kettle that's about to burst and stuff like that. But yeah, I find music always helps.
Oh, really?
The right type of music, yeah, the right type of music helps get all emotions out.
Okay.
You know?
What type of music do you prefer?
If I'm angry, I probably like a bit of rap music. You
Okay.
know. Oh, I like Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's a great one for getting aggression out, or rock music.
Sure,
If
sure.
I want to be like a bit romantic, I like the romantic music. Sometimes I like a bit of classical, like Vivaldi. Is it Vivaldi? Vivaldi Four Seasons? That one? Is it Vivaldi
No
Seasons?
idea. No idea. Sorry.
A bit of Beethoven, something like that. I like a bit of
Okay.
classical music
Oh, good
and
stuff.
jazz. I like jazz. Ella Fitzgerald, um, Dinah Washington, Billie Holiday. I love that type of music, the blues.
Okay. Oh,
What
good
about you?
stuff.
What do you do? What do you do to get out the emotions?
Um, um, I don't really. I suppose I do talk about them, and I do express them as much as I can. I don't. Obviously, I'm fairly good at conversating, so I handle it that way. But the thing is, because I understand psychology fairly well, certainly at an advanced level compared to another layman, so I kind of get to the root cause of it and deal with it that way. So that's why I don't suffer from the things that I used to suffer from, because I did have narcissistic tendencies. I did have codependency issues, but I kind of treated myself, to be honest, and I did that by self-critiquing,
Yeah,
and looking at myself and what have you. And it helps, being in a healthy relationship and things like that. Yeah. And also, I mean, I was very. Here's an insight with me. I was very I was very wrapped up. I was very much a closed bubble. But when my daughter passed away, it kind of made me inward looking in a whole new way. I had a vastly a personality change. Some people say a completely
Oh,
different person altogether, and that kind of helped me get over the hurdle of what I had been experiencing from childhood.
yeah.
Um, I'm not saying that something positive came out of it. I'm just saying that it opened me up a lot more, so I could self critique better.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, it's something worse when something like that happens. But I think death, it's amazing how death can make people look at themselves.
Sure, and
And
I've seen a lot of broken families come together when a member, like a father's passed away or the mother's passed away, and it's kind of brought all the children together.
yeah, this is it, because you realize that person that you loved is not coming back anymore. That life is so short,
Yeah, yeah, indeed. So,
you
what's your plan for the rest of the day? I know Raj is doing a show
Oh, is it?
very soon. Yeah, I think he said 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm not sure, but what you got planned for the rest of the day?
I'm gonna go and get some feathers. I'm making a carnival outfit. I need to make a carnival headdress, so I'm gonna go and get some, ostrich feathers and some
Okay.
feathers for the headdress. So we can do,
Are
yeah.
you sure
So
you're
and then
not
I'm gonna go
making
to.
a super a comic hero costume as an Amazonian warrior?
No, no, no. More
Are you
like
lying to us?
no, like more Caribbean style carnival. Because I want to do the makeup tutorial, but I need the headdress to do. Now my camera lens has come. I need to do the whole thing. The bikini and the headdress. To film it. So I need to get a. I need a headdress. I need like a headdress. So it's like so. I want to look like a Brazilian carnival queen.
I see.
So I need
Fair
some
enough.
feathers.
I always wanted curly hair, but
Hmm?
obviously I've just got the really thick, straight hair. Is there anything that I can do other than growing it and getting it permed?
It's rollers, isn't it? It's rollers.
I
You'd
can't
have
go
to
around
go.
the house. Can't go around the house with rollers on. My wife would probably divorce me.
Either rollers or you can do little plaits, but it depends. You need a lot longer hair than that to do little
Really,
plaits. Yeah,
little plaits. Yeah.
isn't it funny how people always want the different from what they already have?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I've always wanted curly hair, and this is what I never understood about African people. I used to think, God, you guys have the best hairstyle. All you have to do is grow it into a really big afro, and boom, you're
Yeah,
gone. Now, it wasn't until I got to university and I became friends with Roy, and he was telling me, mate, this is not good at all. He couldn't shave because his hair was so
yeah.
curly. It would, if he ever shaved, the hair would start curling inward back into his skin, so he could only trim it with a trimmer. And he was telling me that he has to use all these products on his hair, and it wasn't until I saw all his products that I realised. Absolutely crazy, and
You
that's
still
when I
there?
realised there was a product called Fizzies,
Yeah, yeah.
which used to cost him an arm and a leg to buy, and all this other stuff. It was crazy.
No, that's it. It looks like it's easy maintenance, curly hair, but it's not. A lot of the products and like you said, that the razor bump. A lot of guys get the razor bump on you when you
Right.
start shaving, and then it just kills in itself, and then you get all this scar tissue. So I know exactly
Yeah.
what it means. Like the
Yeah.
waxing, I think you should try waxing instead.
What, on his
So
face?
yeah, because you can get. I've got like facial hair, so I wax it with facial strips. Just put it on and then whoosh, pull it off.
Too much information. It's too much information.
That's how us beauticians are. We have all these secrets, because you said your sister was a beautician.
Yeah, that's right. For Harvey Nichols, yeah, a few years ago. She went into dentistry since then, but yeah, she used to do all that. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a stressful job, isn't it? In many respects.
Yeah, it is like dealing with people's personalities. as well and stuff like that, and making sure you give them what they want, and and stuff like that. Oh, I don't know. It's just like finger. It's one of them, but it's worth it. I enjoy it. I like the beauty business. I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it.
So a lot of the obviously, because I've got so many um, friends and relatives and what have you spanning across the UK, you get to know a lot what a lot of people do. But a lot of these Indian women make a lot of money who are trained beauticians by just doing weddings alone every summer. So doing going
Yeah,
around doing the bridal makeup and what have you, and they can obviously charge an arm and a leg. But apparently, my sister was saying that it's become so. How can we say? There's so many of them doing it nowadays that it's not as easy or it's not as profitable as it used to be.
yeah, yeah. Because I think they've got even magazines, aren't there? Like the Asian bridal wedding magazine and stuff like that. So it's more visual. It's more out there than maybe when she started. It was a lot more. Didn't have as many people, and I think the
Sure.
internet's made it more accessible,
Sure.
more competition.
So what's your plan then? Are you going to open your own business once? So are you qualified already, or are you qualifying?
No, I'm qualifying. I
Okay.
want to, and I actually want to be a photographer and a graphic designer.
Okay.
Um,
So you want to be a makeup artist, a photographer, and a graphics designer all in one day, or do you want to allocate different days?
yeah, makeup and hairdressing is just a side hustle. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's just I've been doing hairdressing for years, but I'm just not qualified in like European hair and stuff like that. So it's just a side hustle because my degree, I'm more interested in being a photographer and a graphic designer. That's why I'm doing the degree. The hairdressing is just a side hustle to get by. Not that I don't like it and the makeup, but it's not something that I want as a whole career. I don't want to be doing it 5 days a week. I only want to be doing it maybe 2 days. Like I want to be freelance. Where I can just like pop to someone's house or like do or a wedding, you know, do the makeup and then take the picture, like that.
So what is it that you want to do mainly? What photography, like wedding photography or fashion photography
Yeah,
and stuff?
I like to do wedding photography and fashion photography.
Okay, I mean, wedding photography must be great. You get free food for the day. You get to be in a celebratory environment. You get to dress up, and off you go, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have a friend of a friend that's already a wedding photographer and stuff like that, and she doesn't even have she wasn't trained in it. She don't have any qualifications in it, but she makes it work. It works for her.
And
So,
what
and
if
everyone, there's
what
so many people getting married.
and what if
People are
I
always going
turned
to
up
be
with
getting married, aren't they?
and what if I turned up with my iPad? Would people still pay me money for me taking pictures of them on my iPad?
Oh no. No, because you can't. You can take a picture, but I don't know. You'd be amazed at what people will pay for nowadays, to
Why are
tell you
you
the honest
laughing at me?
truth.
Why are you laughing at me for? My iPad can zoom in and zoom out, so surely that's professional. It's HD.
Oh, come
I
on.
mean, why are people paying photographers to stand there taking pictures? Why can't they just, set up an iPad and set it to click every few minutes? I don't understand. This is a scam. Is this also a side hustle?
You what I think but some people are not able to take pictures very well. You've got to have a good eye to be a photographer. Because I once gave my mum my camera and I told her to take a picture of me, and she just didn't have a clue. She didn't know about positioning, putting me in the right light, and what
Yeah.
angle to, take me out. So some people just don't have a really good eye. It's not just the camera equipment. Like you said, you can still take a good picture with the iPad, but it's also the person behind the camera. You've got to have a good eye yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at Leon's contents over everything, I look at how he films it and stuff like that, and he's got a good eye and stuff like that. Because some people don't really know how to film properly.
It's true. But
So
that's one of my extra GCSEs. I know you're only supposed to do 10. I did two extra, and one of my extra ones was photography. and I really liked it. So I kind of get the idea. And I used to have a small fashion label, and I used to do my own photography for that, and that was quite cool.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
photography is fun. I love photography. It's expensive though. You know, when you start getting lenses, if you get a DSLR camera, it's like, good lord, the cost of the lenses.
Yeah.
James S. James S. does photography as well.
What? Oh, does he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he said to me, he does photography. He started going on about. I think he was talking about film photographer. You know, like 35mm film and
Oh,
stuff like
really?
that. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was talking about it. I think. Have you not spoken to him in a while?
No, because only business wise, not on a personal level, because he's away from home for Christmas.
Oh right, okay, fair enough then. Wow.
Let me see
Yeah,
if
but yeah.
I had an advert on Sky TV a few years ago. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. I'm sure I had it uploaded. And there's some photography that I did on there is on there. I mean, I it wasn't a very bear with me just one second.
Okay. Look at me.
Oh yeah, I've got it here. Now don't laugh. I mean this was my
Let me go
first
to
advert, my first attempt at doing fashion photography.
let me go to my computer because I'm on my phone. I have to switch on the computer because I'm not watching it at the same time. I'm just in
Okay.
the chat. Let me just bring up the show. Let's see, where are you now? There you are. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
That's it, really.
Oh, it's good.
It was
Yeah.
it was only a small advert. I mean, Sky TV back then was a lot more expensive to put adverts on. So yeah, so I did the photography for that, and I got it all put together. But yeah, that was it. I didn't realize I still had it on YouTube there.
It's good. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Such a fashion brand must be hard.
so it was very hard. Lost a lot of money. But let's not go down that. But having said that, it was my worst business journey. But because it wasn't a success, I learned so much, and on the back of that, I became really good at business, and from that, I was able to advise people on businesses, consult people on businesses. I mean, at one point, my business model was so complex. I would in my third business, I was regulated by the Ministry of Justice, right? So I created this unique business model that the regulators couldn't even understand, and they used to think I'm pulling some kind of scam. So I used to use this a model of business styles. So essentially, it's a combination of franchising and outsourcing various aspects. But they couldn't get their heads around it, and it took various visits and meetings and what have you to get that sorted. So anyway, so because I failed in that business, I was able to help a lot of other people do good in their business, because I do that free of charge. I don't charge anybody. I just go out on a whim and do as much as I can, because it's nothing worse than losing a business and an income.
Yeah, this is it. I think you live and learn. That's the whole thing that we're saying today. That you make mistakes and you learn and stuff like that. But business is difficult. Doing your own tax returns and stuff. You know, and all. If you could hire an accountant, but it's hard. The whole thing, the paperwork. It's hard work.
It's very no. I think it's more of a psychological thing. Once you get into it, it's not too bad. And um, now there's software available for you to do it all very quickly. And but more interesting, just get an accountant for two things. If you make a mistake, the HMRC comes down on you like a ton of brick. But if you have an accountant, then the onus is on them, and they can double check everything, and they will provide you a spreadsheet. So this is what's coming, this is what goes out, this is how much VAT you charged, this is how many sales invoices you've had, and that type of thing. So the pressure's taken away from you.
Yeah, yeah. But what if the accountant robs you? Because I've heard all these stories of the dodgy accountant that tried to like rip people off. Did the accountant only rip off really rich people?
Well, look, a dodgy accountant is a dodgy accountant. It's not so much about ripping you off that you should be worried about. It's if they don't do their job properly, and as a consequence, you end up paying a hefty HMRC fine. So that's what the biggest problem is. But if you are honest, and the T's and C's that you have between yourself and the accountant is honest, then it shouldn't really be a problem. I mean, if you have a small business, say something below, not a small business now, something below 50 grand a year, then you shouldn't really be paying more than £300-400 to the accountant every quarter, right? So
Okay.
right, so but this one means like you're only going to get an accountant if the business can afford it, and if the business can afford it, then the business is at a point of having an accountant. If you don't need one, it means that you're not making enough money to justify an accountant, and you're not really going to be on the radar for extra checks by HMRC anyway, right? They will obviously check everything eventually, but my point is they're more likely to check a company that's bringing in 100,000 to 1 or 2 million, in the first few years, because they're more likely to make mistakes rather than a person who's operating from a home office, is below 40k and doing their own accounts. So they're going to be a bit more stringent in what goes through and what have you.
Okay. So it's just me getting worried when I see all those.
Oh,
We
no,
hear
no,
all
no.
those.
When it comes down to it, just have a chat with me. Feel free to ask me anything. I can only advise you from my own experiences on what I see. It. You're free to make up your own mind, but I wouldn't get worried about things like that, because with business, you got to remember that you're only going to buy or require a service of something if the business can pay for it in the first place. So it's only an issue when you need it. It's not an issue beforehand.
Okay. And it's just like, I'll let you know.
Have a business plan though. 80% of all new businesses that start without a business plan fail.
Yeah, don't worry. But it will be on it. I can't wait to qualify.
So
Things will be good.
when do you qualify, and when do you move down to London?
I qualify July, June. That's when the course finishes. So I'll get my little certificate.
Oh, cool. And what about moving down to London? Will you be able to continue your course in London, or do you have to finish it before you move down?
It might be a bit of both. It's sort of up in the air. Because what I can do is, because it's only, they do the same courses anyway in London, so I can literally just swap, just jump into another college and stuff like that. Because I'm going to go and do, and even if I couldn't, I can go and do level 2 hairdressing. You don't need the level 1 qualification to do it in London anyway. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But if that all else fails and I move before I qualify, what I can do is just go and stay at my mum's and go back to London in the weekend. You know what I mean? It's one of them. It's not. I'm not worried about the course. I'll get the qualification no matter what.
And does your mum live around London? Does she?
No. Honestly, my mum lives in Manchester. But what I'm saying is, if I get a place in London, I can just stay in Manchester for a couple of days and then go down to London.
Sure. But travel will be expensive,
you know what I mean? Yeah, I do drive. I do. I've just put my car on the road now.
Okay.
I didn't have my car on the road, but I finally put my car on the road. So Betty's mobile now.
So do you drive around with the windows down, thumping bass, with those
No,
big speaker things, whatever they're called, in the boot, with the hood down. Is that Betty?
no, but it's only got like a little Renault Clio. I only have a little small car,
So the
and
so the, so the subwoofer is just as big as the car.
no, I wish, I wish. No, I don't have any of that. No, I'm not like those little racer boys. I just have a little small, little cute little car, and she gets me round. I
That's
don't like those people that have all those speakers in their cars.
No, I don't give me a
The boy,
headache. But it used to be big in the 80s and the 90s, you know, when somebody used to drive past your property, and you know, the cutlery used to shake, you know, with all the bass.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the boy racers.
That's right.
The Curry Miles like that. You go down the Curry Mile,
Where's the Curry Mile?
like Wilmslow Road, Manchester,
Oh, I see.
Rusholme. Yeah, and you'll just see a lot of the guys with cars with alloyed wheels, massive speakers, and going back and forth.
The
Especially when it's Eid, something like that.
Okay.
Any type of religious festival. It's just ridiculous.
The the Curry Mile is in London, is a range of Bangladeshi restaurants. It's called Brick Lane, I think. I don't know. I
Oh,
think
have you
that's
got a
right.
Korean mile in London?
Yeah, it's quite a nice place to walk down. But the only problem is that they have individuals standing outside trying to entice you, with offers to get you into the door. But because the truth of the matter is, there's more restaurants than they are customers, so it becomes like a very sales intensive experience, which
Yeah.
usually ends with you thinking, "I wish I hadn't come in here."
Oh no, I've not been. Wait, is that East London, Brick Lane?
Yeah, yeah. It's just East London, near Liverpool Street.
Oh, I don't know all these places in London. When I hear people talk, I just
No, no, so what? I'll tell you the
it's
best way
Cockney
to.
East.
Cockney is basically, yeah, derived from East London, but anybody with that accent is regarded as a Cockney, which is most Londoners, or certainly most working class Londoners. But in regards to London, when you move down here, first of all, if you want to know where and what everything is in London, just study the tube map, and
Okay,
then just realize the tube map looks as if London is very big. It's not. It's actually, everything is walkable. You could do the whole damn thing in one day, no problem whatsoever. It's just that it seems longer than it is, and it takes longer on the tube than it really should. But London, before you study the tube map, understand where the main railway stations are. So Liverpool Street,
okay.
Victoria, King's Cross, Paddington, and what have you, and then you know the main hubs of London, and then you'll branch out from there. I mean, when I moved to London, I just spent a good few weeks just walking around, and instead of going on tube and exploring it. And then before I knew it like, I knew London like the sat nav.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I look forward to it. It's one of those things, when I go to London and I was like, the bus, that bloody bus felt like it takes forever. It's so confusing because it's so big, it's quite daunting for someone that's not from London and stuff
I'm
like
sure,
that.
but you're from Manchester. I mean, Manchester's like they call it the London up north now. So that should be, you should be used to the big city centre feel.
I am used to them, but I don't know. London just seems bigger. Oxford, is it Oxford Street? That
Yeah.
street where it's just madness.
You see,
Gridlock.
Londoners don't really go around those parts because all you tourists go there, and you clog everything up. So if we do go out around there, it's only when we were in our 20s and what have you, and we go there for a night out. But Londoners tend to keep away from those parts of London if we can.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed that because you have little town centres, don't you? Like shopping centres where you can get a lot of things already without having to go into the main centre,
That's
into the
right. I
main
mean,
central London.
London and Greater London is basically consisting of a ridiculous number of towns and cities within itself. So Greater London is what's regarded as London, but in hindsight, it's just a collection of towns and villages and farmlands and what have you. So there's different towns we can go to at a drop of a hat. But Oxford Circus, Bond Street, Piccadilly Circus, Covent Garden, these are high intensive tourist areas, and it just sucks our lives out, especially if we're having to work in central London. Then going there on a weekend, it's mayhem.
Yeah, it's just the amount of people. And whenever you ask someone round there on Oxford Street round there, they never know where anything is. Then no one's ever from London. Every time I ask,
Yeah, no, but yeah. But sometimes I just pretend as if I'm a tourist. If it looks as if I'm going to have to speak another language before I can explain where you need to go, especially when I'm busy. Like if you catch me on, let's say, 4 o'clock on a Friday, I'm having to be in London, and you say, "Hello, excuse me, sir, where do I find this?" And I'm going to say, "No, no English." I'm just going walking.
London is like a bit of a rush, isn't it? Because what I noticed is, like, stand to the right, stand to the right. Everybody's got, on the tube, you got to stand to the right, and everyone's rushing past you on the left.
Yeah, well, you get used to that. You'll do it unconsciously eventually, where you'll always, if you are one of the lazy peeps and wants to stand on the escalator, you'll know instinctively that you need to stand on the right hand side. But if you're full of caffeine like me, then you're going to sprint down the escalators and risk breaking your neck.
God, no, it's just like I didn't like the tube in the beginning, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun and a lot more convenient than traveling on a bus. I haven't. I don't. I can't. I think the last time I was on a bus in London must have been about 2004, and that's only because it's only because I wasn't driving to where I needed to work, and there was no tube, so I reluctantly had to get a bus a few times. But if I can avoid public transport, I will. I'd rather take the car. Even if I have to reverse 10 miles because the car's not going forward, I would rather do that than travel on public transport, because I don't find it very clean.
Yeah. It's not, is it? To tell it honest truth, they're not very clean.
I mean, why they can't hoover the bloody thing, I'm not sure. But then I am a Virgo. I'm a bit pedantic, and I do go OTT. But no, that's just me. What can I do?
I know. I wouldn't worry about it, because, like, for the same thing, I get travel sick on the bus. Yeah.
So do you have to sit facing forward?
I don't know what it is. I think it's because the air is so stale, and like you said, it's not the cleanest place. I just start feeling like I'm about to vomit. But I'm all right. I'm all right on the train. So
it doesn't matter if you're facing forward or backwards or where in the bus you're seated. You'll reluctantly generally will start feeling a bit squirmish.
Yeah, I will. I start, like, if it's like only a small journey, but if it goes over half an hour, I'm gonna be like feeling like I'm right to vomit.
Yeah.
So I try and avoid the bus, long bus journeys and stuff like that. But now luckily my car's back. I could just go somewhere for once. But I'm still scared to drive to London. I'm so scared.
I don't know why people are scared. I mean, if you can drive in, I mean, Birmingham is full of more idiotic drivers than anywhere in the country from what I can see. The only thing with London is that you have to do things a bit quicker, and I think people get a bit nervous where you have to be anticipating the lights. You have to be able to fill the gap at the roundabout and not wait if they're going to slow down. So you just need to be a bit more quick-witted, and but again, it's all practice. That's all it is. It's all practice.
I think I think it is, because I've never drawn over an hour and 10 minutes ever. I only, like, my sister used to live in Leeds, so I'd only drive to Leeds and back, and that'd be an hour and 10 minutes, and I've never drawn any further than Leeds that way, or Liverpool. So, to go all the way down to London is going to be a big thing, and I've been driving for like 15 years. That shows you just how much I don't drive really long distances. But James was saying that he used to be able to go to Liverpool and London in about 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I've done the fastest time. Yeah, I mean, I won't say the fastest time I've done it because obvious reasons. But I used to do Leeds to London to Leeds, Leeds to London fairly often, seeing relatives and that, and I could do it very, very quickly. I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I understand the M1 is full of 50 miles per hour now anyway. But I do sometimes go to Leicester to see my friend Michael. That can be done very quickly, but you have to be careful. They've got smart motorways now, no? So they can change the speed limit and charge you 50 quid for speeding at any time they want.
Oh, they've got smart motorways. Oh
And the
shit.
and the other thing, when you're doing a long journey, is find out which is the best service stations, right? Because a lot of the new service stations have the Weatherspoon, so you can have an English Grab, or they make them into small shopping centres now. Essentially, a lot of them in the southeast when you go towards Dorset and Cornwall and what have you. So it's worth doing research, which is the best service stations to stop at.
Well, I'll try that. I'll get over this confidence thing about going on the motorway
Yeah,
to
I
long
mean,
distances.
one of my sisters has the same issue, and with her, she had a couple of bad experiences. One was that she was sandwiched in between two lorries. She was in the middle lane, and two
Yeah.
lorries came on either side. So
Oh.
that kind of really intimidated her, and she kind of lost her confidence and what have you. But she's not the greatest of drivers anyway, I don't think. But we're talking about somebody who roasted an engine of a brand new car because she didn't want to change gears often enough.
Ooh. Yeah, I know. I hate changing gear as well, but I don't want an automatic. You know what? If I could have one, I'd love a Golf. Like my dream car would be a nice black Golf. That's what I'd like.
You're a rude guy. Black gold, tinted windows, lowered.
Yeah. Alloys, yeah, you understand, yeah, that's what I'd like. They just because like people talk about the Mercedes Benz, but I don't like saloon cars.
Oh, you don't like saloon? Why not?
Because I'm thinking of I'm gonna have to park that thing. I'm gonna have to, do reverse parking, and because the bigger it gets, all these parking spaces get small in it, so I've got to run around trying to find a parking space. So I don't like saloons. No, I like a nice little cute car, but still look stylish.
What about a rickshaw?
Rickshaw. Are you talking about those things that they drive in India?
Yeah, it's basically a cycle with two seats at the back for you to pull like a cart. So you can make from England to London.
No, that can't do me. That can't help me. I've seen them though, but they're really expensive outside Speaker's Corner. I think did you say
Yeah,
like 30 quid or something?
yeah. You wouldn't even give them a time of the day. They're just clowns. I mean, I'm charging £30 just to travel 100 meters. What a joke!
Yeah, I just thought, at first I thought he was joking, but then I realised that Mum wasn't joking. I was just like, God, no. It's too
Yeah.
much.
And I think they have to pay some kind of tax to London transport as well.
Oh,
All
so
types of
that's why.
craziness goes on like that. Anything that can be milked with money, the London borough councils will take it from you. They'll squeeze blood from a stone if they can.
Yeah, like the City of London, eh? Anyway, hon, I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, I'm
Got to
going to
go to
close
the
the stream
shops.
down as well. So thanks for coming on and discussing the issue. So Raj is going to do a
Thank you.
stream later, so perhaps jump onto that. Oh, he doesn't allow us to go onto his stream, does he? So we're going to just listen in then.
Yeah. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it. And thank you
Okay.
to everybody. Enjoy your day. See you
I'll see
later.
you. Bye, Betty. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Right, so who do we have in the chat, guys? Sorry, I've been neglecting everybody. Oh, I'm not going to be able to go through all these messages. Thousands upon thousands. So hello to all my mods and hello to all my non-mods. Sorry, I've been ignoring you. So yeah, last night's stream was a bit crazy. I hope it can be used for everybody to grow and learn from. Yeah, I think me and Betty kind of discussed everything. It got a bit crazy at one point, which kind of ended up with me ejecting Ards and Raspet. Raspet for different reasons, because he had various people speaking through his channel, which was kind of a bit mad. And it, you know, sometimes certain individuals are always gel with everything, and I was getting exhausted, to be honest. Needed the whole thing to end, and nobody was getting a real full say. But there you go. Anyway, so I think me and Betty have discussed everything that we need to discuss. Does anybody know what time Raj's show starts? Can anybody type in the chat? Do we know what time Raj's show starts? Did he say 4? Did he say 5? Anybody know? Glad you enjoyed the show, Angela. Anybody know what time Raj's show starts? People, talk to me. That sounded very Yorkshire. Should have ejected him sooner. Yeah, there's pros and cons with that. He said 4 o'clock. Oh, did he? Okay, so I'll have to finish before 4. My ears were sweating yesterday, I'm sure. 4, 4, 4. All right, so he's starting in a few minutes. The reason why, this is the other thing, right? The reason why I don't inject people sooner, my thought process at the time is to allow people to have their say, and then my thought process, if they're critiquing anyone, to allow them to have their say. Now people are going to say, well, that just causes mayhem. Yes, it does, but the idea is that most intelligent people will be able to go through a process of going through mayhem, discussing it, having a go at each other, then coming to a vital conclusion and some kind of synergy. So when that happens, that's brilliant. But when it doesn't happen, then we have the type of mayhem that ensued yesterday. But like Betty said, I think we kind of did allow some kind of expelling of demons to happen in some forms in order to hopefully reach they can reach an amicable agreement at the end of this. But anyway, so we had Modine on. Modine was very Modine-ish, should I say. So he was rather calm. He was saying some nice things. Sophie obviously was on fire yesterday. She came in. I mean, her and Raven had a really good conversation. See, that was a perfect example where they had to and fro, and you know, Sophia was telling him what her issues are, and then at the end of it, Raven actually gave her a solution, and it was accepted by Sophia. So you know, hopefully going forward, you know, Sophia will be more comfortable there. So we also had the Blue Lion come on in the final hour, the crazy magician. To be honest, there's a question mark hanging there over me, but we're going to have him back on. I was a bit too tired towards the end of the night, so I wasn't able to really go into it. And he's obviously another personality that likes to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But obviously, we need to have him to enter into dialogue. But I was really happy to have Takia Watch On and Sophia Films. I hope both of these guys will be regulars on the channel. I'm trying to get them two, Academic Screeching and Apostate Yasmin, on. Because these four are very similar, have very similar channels, and I'd like to really discuss some of the issues that they face, things that they themselves can improve on, and things that they enjoy doing. So that's another show to look forward to, because I think that would be helpful. We obviously got the super show coming on Friday, Friday the 4th of January, with a British politician coming on. We're going to be talking about grooming. We're going to be talking about immigration, Brexit, how certain communities feel externalized from the whole Brexit pro-Britain movement, and discussing other important topics. I was hoping to do a show on gang grooming. What I mean by that is that a lot of British gang members are groomed by older gang members to carry out to enter into this whole gang, drug crime culture. So I've watched a video recently, and I don't know too much about it, so perhaps get Betty on. I kind of mentioned a message to Aspect in regards to that. I don't know if he hasn't received my message or he hasn't looked at it. So I kind of said to him perhaps he could come in regards to that, and also the consequences and the lingering effects of slavery, and how we can help. How we can help the African community move forward, because if we take one key thing away from members of gang is that the whole slavery issue is still lingering within their community, or certainly within them. So let's maybe I have to chase him up with that. So what other shows? So I am going to, after this Friday, the super show with the British politician, going to try to get 2 more political people on. So that's that. I'm not going to disclose anything until I get confirmation in regards to that. And I may, by the end of January, do a 24-hour live broadcast. A 24-hour live broadcast where either have VIPs coming and hosting some of the hours, or coming in and doing some interviews, or just create an epic super duper show, which goes on for 24 hours, which is also educational, but we also help resolve a lot of issues that may be lingering. But that's kind of in the how can I say, the planning stages. But I would say I am 70% decided that I will do a 24-hour live stream. I mean, you guys are going to drive me crazy doing it. JK asking any science shows. You need to come forward. You're the scientist, so you need to come forward. And you're going to say climate change, aren't you? Please don't say climate change, because if you ask me that question one more time, I don't know if I can take it. I can't take that question anymore. Don't do it. Don't do it. But we may do one on climate change, but we need a specialist on to do that. Rainbow Dunya saying show on mental health. That is in the pipeline, Rainbow Dunya. I'm trying to get my favorite psychologist on, but she's in America and she's very busy. She is a psychiatrist for the Hollywood stars. I know I'm probably punching above my weight, but you have to start somewhere. So I'm trying to get a psychologist on, a psychiatrist on, and I'm trying to, once I've done that, then what I would like to do is ask brave members of Speaker's Corner, right? The brave members of Speaker's Corner to come forward and sit in the psychiatrist chair, so they could be peeled like an onion. So I will go first, because if it's my idea, then I should be peeled like an onion, and my issue should be laid bare. And then hopefully other people can come forward. But it can only work A, if someone's brave, and B, if they're honest. Because if a psychiatrist or a therapist asks you questions, you know, are you so and so, or do you experience this, or have you experienced this, and you lie because you realize you're on camera, or some people are listening, then we're not really going to see the benefit of that. Comic egg flat earth model connection to the Vedas. I'm not sure what you mean. Comic egg flat earth model. What about global overpopulation and how we can prepare for future global population increase? There, you have to understand that globalization and urbanization is basically taking people from rural lands and putting them into cities, and therefore it seems as if there's a more of an overpopulation than ever before. It's not necessarily true. 80% of the habitable planet is uninhabited. The cities are designed and purposely continue to be designed poorly. There's other issues in regards to why it seems as if we are overpopulated, but the planet is not overpopulated. It is not overpopulated. Simple as that. There's no need to go into detail. I'm sure I've said enough for that to trigger some research. So go away. Enough farmers with shotguns and ting. I'm not sure what that means. I'm sure that's a response to something else. Climate change is my topic. Love biology and renewable energy. Yeah, science is JK's thing. Cosmic egg. Shiv Knights, Jagannath, well, one of the leading cosmetologists has stated that the Earth is not round, it's actually shaped more like a pear in an eggy type shape, which makes you think, then what the hell do they show us when they say this is planet Earth, which looks like a ball? Are they lying to us? But different political ideas is good topic. Analyze different modern group. Yeah, I mean, I've done a presentation on that already, JK. That if everybody looked at all political ideologies through the lens of individuality and collectivism, then everybody would know exactly how we are ruled and controlled. So everything from religion to democracy to communism, all those shenanigans are collectivized control systems. And the only freedom humanity has ever seen or has been allowed or they have won has been the Swiss Constitution, the British Constitution, and the American Constitution. Why? Because they protect individual sovereignty, individual rights. Democracy, communism, dictatorships, religions, blah, 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 are all collectivized systems. So, are you a flat earther, Manny? I wouldn't say I'm a flat earther, academic screeching. I would say that I accept that all the information presented to the likes of me is not the entire information, that I am open enough to understand that there is an argument on both sides. That's all I'm saying, that I do not have a rocket to go up into space and look down and see if this is a flat globe or blah, blah, blah. Obviously, logically speaking, it's a globe. I accept that as well. All I'm saying that there's evidence that comes through from flat earthers that questions the Sophia theory or explanation. That's all I'm saying. Let's have an open debate about it. See, I can discuss ideas and concepts without necessarily believing them. Chemical put in the sky to mess with your mind. There are, I mean, in regards to what you're saying there with chemicals is God, what's the term now? Guys, what's it called when they spray chemicals with the plane in the air? What's the term? Help me out. Help me out. Help me out. What's it called? Trails, something trails. Chemtrails, chemical trails, chemtrails. So chemtrails, there's a lot of information, including photography and video, to show that they do exist. In fact, there was some dialogue between President Trump and somebody, and he stated that he was going to stop them. And in America, they've reduced. Direct is always the way to go. Proportional democracy is no better than dictatorship. Yeah, you're right. So direct democracy, basically, Angela, are you saying that we all have to vote? Because my suggestion is, let's do away with members of parliament and congressmen. Let's us, the people, vote on everything. So, for example, every morning, the family wakes up, or the adults, turns on their computer, view through blockchain voting, say, would you like to go to war? Yes or no? No. Do you want to increase the amount of tax we all pay to the NHS? Yes or no? Yes. Do you want to increase your own personal tax? Yes or no? No. You get the idea? Why the hell do we need politicians? So they can receive brown paper bag stuff with cash? Of course not. What use are they? They come onto the political stage and say, if you elect me, I promise I shall blah 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 blah. They get voted in a couple of months later. Oh, we can't do this because of this, we have to go this way. Or I wasn't able to achieve this, so I have to go that way. What changes? It's something called lobbying, perhaps. So we need to do away with politicians. We don't need them. The system is broken unless we do. We ourselves have to vote. We have the technology, we have the know-how, and in fact, if we all became politicians, that would sort a lot of issue. That would be true democracy, because this is what we're living in is not true enough. We ourselves have to vote. Iceland, yeah, I love the politicians in Iceland. In 2007, when the bankers caused mayhem around the world, they were the only country to arrest the bankers, whereas our politicians printed money and said, here's an early Christmas present to the bankers. Thank you very much for destroying our economy. Here's more money. Lady Secretary, great idea about voting ourselves, but people have to be well informed. It's true, but it's all about, that starts with education. But at the end of the day, even if they're not well informed enough, they should be allowed to make the decision and not pay money to a fat suited pillock who's corrupt to make decisions for them. For example, a stupid person is more likely to vote against war than a fat, greedy, evil politician who's more likely to receive a brown paper bag and a free house and a car and a Rolex to vote in favor of war. Get my point? We win either way. So the education system needs to be reinvented. First and foremost, children should be able to express what they're interested in. Obviously, they need to learn mathematics, English, and all the essential, but they should be able to express what they're interested in. So they should be allowed to expand on that, and the parents should be able to express what their children should be taught. You think any respected parents are going to say, do you know what? Why don't you teach my child about having sex at the age of 12 when most children don't even think about it? Yeah, they do that to sexualize children, obviously. So maybe it's up to the parents if they want to teach somebody, about these concepts. But they should be allowed to play sport and become healthy. They should be allowed to be taught constitution, i.e. where their power comes from. Should be taught about health, how to cure things, not algebra. X plus x1 equals how many x's? I mean, what is the point? I mean, I understand it's an exercise of the mind, but there's different ways of doing that. At least teach them the facts and the information that they need to live a healthier life and help other people. So let's reinvent that as well. What else should we reinvent? We should reinvent the financial system. Yeah, we should reinvent the financial system. How about every single person? There's so many ways to have a better financial system. I have to do another show on it. I mean, it's all about commoditization, isn't it? Let's not go into that now. Two-party is exposed, two wings of the same bird. That is why the internet is dangerous. Yeah, two-party system. Yeah, two wings of the same bird. You need to look at who controls the head of the bird, not whether somebody is left wing or right wing. Free energy. Well, I think Tesla showed that that free energy is available. So police, John Dunn is saying hi PC Barnes. Hello to PC Barnes if he is watching, listening rather. So police and law. So the police should be there to police anybody, including corporation, whether how much they adhere to the Constitution, right? So that should be the sole purpose of the police. In fact, their first objective should be that those who have been entrusted to uphold the Constitution are indeed themselves upholding the Constitution. That should be the sole purpose of the police, because under the Constitution, if you breach the peace, you're going inside. shouldn't be going inside just because, you know, you've told somebody to get lost. I'm not saying that that's what the police do, but I'm exaggerating. The police should be the policing of the Constitution. What else do you want me to cast my opinion on, guys? What other part of life? I know I haven't discussed finance, but I've got to save that for another day. Oh, it's 4 o'clock. Right, I'm going to go because Raj is going to be starting his stream soon, and that's the end of it. So thank you everybody for coming on, for joining, for listening, for liking and sharing. Thank you to all my mods who helped with all the streams. And this is probably going to be my last live stream of the year. So yeah, so that'll be that. Next Friday, 4th of Jan, super show coming up. So thank you everybody, all my subscribers, for giving me the encouragement to do these shows, and I hopefully will do even better for everybody next year. And I hope 2019 is a fantastic year for everybody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, see you later.